Yes, we will. And yes, we are live. So, yeah, thank you so much. A warm welcome to each and everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to our event for our Zipinar today. And again, thank you so much for your precious time. And also, ahead of time, we're thanking our guest speaker right now. He's very generous of his time and his knowledge and his energy to have prepared a talk and a topic for us today. And just to inform you ahead of time, Zipinar is made possible by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions, an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, United States. And they're also visible in Mexico, Spain, and India. So for any IT projects, you can visit their website at www.cogentids.com. And yeah, you can check the services and take advantage or get in touch with the team. And also, this Zipinar is initiated by them for the thought of they wanted to give back to the community through free knowledge sharing. So they created this platform and named it Zipinar as we try to zip in two topics in 1 hour. So such cases due to personal matters, the other speaker that we have invited today may not be able to join in, and hence we will take advantage of this full session duration with the topic that we have, with a single topic that we have today, which is a very interesting one because it's a form of a testimony about the great measures of like journey that our guest speaker has made to himself and was able to found an interesting uh, business that he is having right now. And we will hear about it after I introduce the speaker that we have today. So his name is Alain Nikonemi. I'm sure I'm hoping I have pronounced it well. And so he's a founder and CEO of Alinuhim PLC or Alinuhim Incorporation. And he is a software engineer, Scrum Master, PMP certified product manager, project manager, data analyst, and the founder of Alinuhim PLC, who also performs technical consultancy. And the topic that he chose to share with us today is about embarking on a life altering odyssey. So his transformative testimony, so sharing who he is, what he have faced, the challenges, and what are the current or the most recent challenges as well, still that he's facing, and the reason that he chose to be strong. So, without further ado, we have here Mr. Aline Niknanwi to give us his topic, and the rest of the details will come up. So, stay tuned. And you can take over, Elaine.
Hello, thanks again, Phil, for that brief introduction. I am Alain Kongnenui, as he rightly said, a project manager, a product manager, software engineer, and data analyst, and a few others that he has mentioned. So I'm not here to talk about any other thing, but my transformative journey as an individual and as an entrepreneur. I grew up in a very lucrative environment in Africa, specifically Kumba. Well, I my education was a bit tough for me as an individual. Why was it tough for me? Because one of the major challenges I faced as an individual was I had to repeat elementary school. I repeated class 2 as it is referred to in Africa or Cameroon. I repeated it twice. That's 2 times. And I had to repeat class 6, which is still elementary school. And I repeated that 3 times. And one of the reasons I repeated this class is not because I was not interested in going to school, but the reason is I couldn't read. I couldn't do some basic things that every child was supposed to do. So this provoked me at a particular point in time. I can't really say if it's as a result of the provocation from friends or relatives or those around my vicinity who were saying I am a dumb child. I am a child who is never going to enjoy the umbrella of success. And that provoked me to approach my mom one day, one blessed day after I was playing with some of my friends. I came back home a little bit sad and frustrated. So I approached my mom and I told her, Ma, I don't want to go to school. And she kept quiet and held her peace as a mother. And I repeated it the second time, and she still didn't make mention of anything or show any sign of remorse or happiness or excitement. No sign. I couldn't really figure out her emotions. So when I repeated it the third time, as a mother, she raised up her head and asked, what then do you want to do? I then turned and said to her, Ma, I want to push truck. Now, pushing truck in Africa, specifically Cameroon, is one of the lowest class of job, the meanest type of job that an individual can hope to have. In other words, those who are engaged in this field are those ones who have either failed in other fields and decides as a backup plan or the last option, the option where there is no other option, because you don't need any specific training or skill to be able to execute that job. But that's what I did choose my mom, to tell my mom I wanted to do. She then looked at me in awe, and the pail of water she was carrying, she poured the water inside the pail on me. Then I ran off as a natural child from Africa, who, when you know that your mom is angry, or as an individual, when you know that your parents are angry, it gives you a sense of fear and a sense of respect, knowing that you have committed something evil and you have to go back in ask for and plead for forgiveness. So as you can see on the screen, that's an excerpt of my class 6 result. Not really, I wasn't really feeling because I didn't have the satisfactory schoolmate. I had all the schoolmates an individual or a teenager was supposed to have. I wasn't really feeling because I didn't want to go to school or because my parents were not doing their best, but my parents were really putting their best into my education. Now, later on, I really got frustrated after I realized that my mom was not satisfied with the choices I made. So after running off, I noticed my mom wasn't pursuing me. I turned back to verify why she wasn't pursuing me, because deep within me, I knew that something was wrong with my decision, but I didn't want to admit it, that the decision I'm making is wrong, because that was the only decision I thought at the moment that was the best. So turning back now to meet my mom, I noticed she had bowed down her head, the same spot where she was performing her laundry. She bowed down her head and was meditating and lamenting that, God, my son shall never be a failure. God, none of my children will be a failure. That shocked me as a child. You know, as an individual, when you make mistakes, you expect to receive punishment. I would say contemporarily, the world, that's how the world is set up, not something that we actually so do want to, but that's what we all expect. If someone commits a crime, the person should face the consequences of the crime. Now, but my mom was at that particular point so forgiving and willing to do her best to ensure that I succeed as an individual. Now, that a few weeks later, a friend to my father came to visit, and he requested that I should read a portion of the scripture. And being who I am, I honestly told him I can't read. He was shocked that in class 6, or generally referred to these days as standard 6, I was unable to read. I was unable to do basic spellings. I couldn't spell basic words. He got so shocked that he decided to set out 2 to 3 hours of his time to educate me on spellings and drilled me on some specific things, techniques on how to read and write. This made me super excited as an individual. Now, that is something I will probably come into at the end of this, or by the end of this presentation. But what he did got me really, really interested and really, really excellent in reading and writing. And that provoked my education and academic career, whereby I was able to pass my class 6. I went to class 7, passed with excellence, moved to my secondary school and high school, and I graduated with excellence. In fact, today, I can proudly say I have many certificates, many certifications, many academic programs, still following more, thanks to the effort put in by that man. But he didn't just do the work alone. My dad also was a very, very compassionate and friendly person. He came home one blessed that during the course of that period, and my mom reported my actions to him. And being my dad, he didn't school me, he didn't punish me. He just called me up the preceding day after our morning devotion, because I'm from a Christian family. And he called me up and said, we have to perform fasting and prayers today, which was something Christians are accustomed to doing. Now, as an individual, as a child, I felt like a punishment, that this man is trying to punish me, he's trying to starve me from so that I should not be able to eat the especially as one of the dishes that were being prepared that particular day was my favorite dish. So I got furious and I took my game and was gaming. Now I observed that he himself also was very, very angry, and it brought to my consciousness that, but what I am doing, I should really, really accept and acknowledge that what I am really doing is wrong. So that brought some level of humility inside of me and made me to realize that, yes, I have done something wrong, but for me to be able to change this thing, I have to commit myself to a supreme being. And that supreme being, the only supreme being I know and I have ever known, is God. So I decided to follow his instructions, and that day was a success. At the end of the day, he was very, very proud of me, and he encouraged me to study. He encouraged me to do a lot of things. So now, after graduating magna cum laude in my university days, I went to the work world. As a regular graduate, you apply for many jobs, you apply for many, many opportunities. So I applied for a few, I won't say a few, hundreds, if not thousands. And I got rejected, some being that I am too intelligent, some being that I am too smart for the work world. In fact, I even had jobs that I did. The people appreciated the job that they said it exceeded their expectation, that they can't pay me. That was the level of stress or challenges. These are some of the level of stress and challenges I had to face in the work world. And to be realistic and fair to myself and to everyone, I will say the work world is not romantic at all. So when, as a young man, as an entrepreneur or as an individual, when you're facing the world, you should know that things may not always go your way. But thanks be to God that my father has always been someone who encouraged entrepreneurship, and he himself has been engaged in entrepreneurship from when I knew, in fact, from before I was born. So he had been encouraging me. So I had a lot of side projects that I had been engaging myself into. And one of those projects involved creating electronics. And I didn't want to create electronics abroad because abroad has a vast market of electronics already. But the African and the Asian market is still very, very new and unexploited. So I started working on the different electronic projects simultaneously. And God so kind, I succeeded to build the laptop brand that I call Samika, sorry, Odilia, or computers, the brands of computers that we produce. We built it in honor of my mom, because my mom's name, I'll say nickname, that my grandfather actually gave to her is Odilia. So I decided to brand the computers in respect to my mom because of her sacrifice, because of her consistent commitment to saying that I am productive. And the TV, I decided to brand it also in respect to my father, who we also call Samika. And one of the reasons I branded it in respect to my dad, because while facing all these challenges, my dad was consistent with me. I would say there is no week that goes by, even when I am really, really frustrated and stressed. To be honest with you, I am above 30 years, but every blessed week, my dad calls me a minimum of 3 times. Not really because I want him to call me a minimum of 3 times, but because he is a father. He consistently tries to nurture me. He still believes that I am still his son. I am still somehow fragile. I still somehow need some level of education. Now, the reason is it's not really that I really, really need his physical presence and his assistance, but that serves as a motivation for me. That serves as a push power when I feel I should give up. And I imagine that he will call me on a particular day and ask, what have you actually achieved this day? What did you do this particular week? What are some of those things, those goals, those milestones that you were able to achieve? Now, and as I said, the laptop or the computers are branded in respect to my mom, and the TVs in respect to my dad. But and the TVs are built to solve specific problems, like in remote villages where there are no energy and there's no power. You can be able to make use of our TV because it makes use of solar energy as a source of energy, not just making use of hydroelectricity, not just making use of power stations or windmill, but it makes use of solar panel, whereby you as a user, you can be able to autonomously own your own source of energy. And it doesn't just serve in powering the TV, it also serves in powering other small devices, like you can charge your phone, like you can charge your computer while the TV is on. You can also plug bulbs and other related things to actually enhance the TV experience. Now, the reason I worked on a TV is because of family. Growing up, we had this mentality, we had this period of bonding, and that bonding period was either when we are by the three-stone fireplace or when we are in front of the TV, where we share emotions, where we share our worries, where we try to put in ourselves into the scenes or the lifestyle of another person or a character in a particular movie or a character in a particular TV show, or by listening to the experiences others actually faced in the course of their career. So these are some of the motivation factors that made me to work on the TV, and as well as with the computer. Now, some of the things that kept me going as an individual is God's love. Now, I can't, just like Billy Graham once said, he said, if you are doing anything in life and you try to twist God and throw him away, before, like a piece of paper or like a piece of rubbish paper, before that rubbish paper or before that God that you're trying to twist like a rubbish paper to throw away lands on the floor, you as an individual, you must have fallen thousands of times. So these are some of the founding principles. These are some of the things that kept me going. And my parents' love, as I have made mention throughout the presentation, that my parents' love actually served as a motivating factor. And I also, everyone can believe in you. In fact, if I have to be honest, there were points where my dad actually, my mom, my dad, they got confused if what I'm doing was actually going to work. If what I'm doing was actually seemingly realistic. I can remember a few times they asked me, if this thing was this easy, why did many other people not do it? Why is it that you think you are the only one capable of doing it? So I had to learn to believe in myself as an individual. I had to learn to believe in my capabilities and the qualities I possess as an individual. So these are some of the things that kept me going and hopeful. Now, as an individual and as an entrepreneur, in the business world, in the work world, in academics, all this encompasses difficult and challenge, carries difficult and challenging moments. And for you as an individual to be able to face and go through this moment, you need to be able to learn to celebrate your successes. Because if you don't learn to celebrate the little successes that you make, you'll give up in life. If you don't learn to cry, I mean, let the negative energy out when you fail, then you may definitely break down in the course of your journey, either in academics, either in entrepreneurship, either in business, either in project management. I can remember there was a time when I was working on a particular project and did hundreds of code, and I discovered there was an error trying to debug. I couldn't identify the error. I had to stay for close to 2 weeks without being able to identify. I called friends, peers, and many others. They said, your code is very clean. What you're doing looks very excellent, but there was something wrong with it that we could not easily see. So there was a week I sat down. I took sufficiently enough time, packed down my computer. I cried consistently for close to a day. I let that negative energy out of me. Now, after doing that, I was actually playing games. And while playing game, I noticed that my keyboard, I had mistakenly entered a key. So when I went back to verify what I entered, I discovered the error. The error was just a semicolon, which was placed at a particular location that was not supposed to be there at that particular point in time. But if I had not let go of that negative energy, probably I would not have been able to figure or identify that particular thing. So being able to know when things are not going right and you should be able to let go of that negative energy is also a key element to success as an entrepreneur, as an individual, and as an employee. Now, another source of inspiration is Mr. Tony Olemelu. He a Nigerian entrepreneur, a billionaire for that matter. But what impresses me about him is not his money. What impresses me about him is not the things he has been doing to young entrepreneurs, giving them spending what $100 million annually on young entrepreneurs within the African community or the sub-Saharan Africa. But what really impresses me about him is his value for family. He understands that family plays a key role to the success of an individual. Now, he values his wife as much as he values his business. He values his children as much as he values his children. To me, these are key elements that most young entrepreneurs tend not to have. And even when you tend to make it or you tend to succeed as an entrepreneur, there is that void in you if you don't have family. The family may not necessarily be biological. It may not necessarily be genetically related, but the family are those ones who are willing to stand by you in your trying moments and in your moments of success. Now, I don't know if so far there are questions before I proceed, because I would like us to work in stages. Phil, I don't know if that works for you.
Yeah. Well, actually, you can carry on, or um, we were just wondering, like, for how long has this been this business that you have founded been running?
Okay. Ali Noim Incorporated actually started way back around 2016. And it was still a vision in progress. So there were many things that we were lacking, but I kept adding modules by module as the journey kept going. Now, I knew that there were lots of things I needed, but I didn't know what to start with. So I decided to choose what I should start with and make the mistakes while learning in the process of making the mistakes, rather than saying and sitting. Because naturally speaking, to be honest, I don't like failure. I don't like to fail. I I have an instinct which is a risk averter, but I learned that failure doesn't mean you don't know something. Failure just means you are following the wrong direction, a particular direction that you're not supposed to follow at a particular time. It may not necessarily be the wrong direction, but you may be taking the wrong trajectory at a particular time. So there are many mistakes I have made through the course of 2016 up to date. There were moments where I gave up on the project. There were moments where for years, actually there was a 2-year lap after 2017 that I didn't really, or close to 2 years, that I didn't really focus my attention on the project. But it was after some of these rejections and push I got from the real world that I got to re-engage myself into the project and saw a need to help others. Because I can remember a friend of mine said, if you fail in this project, it means you're failing many people in life. If you fail on this project, it means you're giving some of us reasons to believe that nobody can succeed in anything in this world. So these are some of the pushful elements that got me going. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you were to discuss the next. You can actually carry on. We'll check for further questions along the way.
Okay. Now, in terms of career, I didn't prepare lots of slides to that effect. But in terms of career, I have worked as a project manager, as I said. Now, one thing I'll try to limit myself in terms of project management or product management. One thing I have also observed with project management is project managers tend to, or people tend to think that project managers know everything at a particular point in time. They actually know everything about what they are doing. They actually know everything about what they are supposed to do. They actually have everything well carved out. But from my experiences as a project manager, there are times when you plan everything extremely well in your head, but you go in the process of execution, you discover that there are lots of things that you didn't take into consideration when you were doing your planning that you were supposed to have taken into consideration. And these are some of the things that keeps or makes project managers frustrated. These are some of the things that will separate a good project manager from a bad project manager. Because at this particular juncture, you as a project manager, you should be able to be flexible. There are times you need to listen to your team. I'll give a practical example. I was working with a company, NGT Limited, and we had this particular project we were working on. And within my team, we observed that there was one person who was not really sounding. She before then she was performing extremely well, but there was a particular point throughout the course of the project that she was not really performing to her max. So that kept some of us inquisitive, and as the project manager of the team, I had to approach her to ask her what actually was wrong, because I know that this was not her full scale performance or her full capacity as a team player or a team member. Now, from what I got from her is she had been facing some personal issues, and these personal issues tend to affect her life as a team member. So because I observed she was consistently picking fights with team members, I observed she was in consistent disagreement with others. She wasn't meeting her deadlines, not because she could not really do that, but the reason she couldn't do that was probably because of her external affair. But when we were able to handle that external affair, she was able to outperform for the project. So these are some of the things that you as a project manager, you may have to be keen enough to identify in your team. Identify the project roadmap, identify the testing areas. You should have to some level knowledge in each of these fields, because I perform tests, I have performed testing before, I have performed project management before, I have performed, even if it's just theoretical, even if you don't know that in practice, but you have actually been able to see someone who does it and you have been able to learn from their mistakes, then you may be able to effectively guide your team. So these are some of the skills, external skills, that a project manager needs. A project manager does not necessarily need to carve out the project plan, because you can carve out a perfect plan and that plan doesn't go as planned because your team is not in consistent sync with what you're doing. That's one aspect of project management. And the other aspect I have also got to learn about project and product management is there are times while working in project, you may have good and awesome ideas, but or the person who brought the client who brought the project to you came with very, very excited or exciting projects and well carved out plans in their head. But you as an individual, you should, or as a project manager, you should be able to identify if that project plan correlates with the budget the client has. You should not just focus on, yes, this is a perfectly carved out plan. This is a good idea. This is a brilliant idea, but how much financial and other resources do you have to back out what you're actually saying you can do? So these are some of the things that as project managers, in fact, as individuals, when you're working in the company, you should be able to have keen eyes to some of these details for you to be able to effectively deliver to your clients.
Wonderful. That really is a great journey. And then thank you so much for sharing those wonderful insights to our audience as well. So encouraging our attendees, if you have any questions in mind, you can put it on chat or you can raise your hand to get our attention and we can acknowledge the question. And while you're thinking of a question, I wanted to know, your business is basically available in Africa, right? As of the moment, so it's not available online yet.
Well, as at the moment, we have had a few client requests from India and not just in Africa. So I will not really say it's just online, because it's true it was mouth-to-mouth referral, but we are still global to an extent. We are still global. Yeah.
All right, that's perfect. So if you were to let's say for example, if you were to uh like pitch your business to future collaborators, or they might be some collaborators that are watching this live or probably watching this recorded session later, how would you pitch your business if in case you needed like additional support or something like that to make your business grow bigger?
Okay. What I will tell the venture capitalists or the investors is that if you're investing, you should also invest in something you believe in. You should not just invest in something you don't believe in. And you should also invest on someone who is passionate. Now, I can have a very brilliant idea, but if I'm not passionate in what I'm doing, then don't invest in me. But if you think as an individual that it was passion that led me from 2016 or about to date, then you should invest in me.
That's actually wonderful. And yes, can you provide more highlight on the products that you have materialized so far? I've looked at your LinkedIn, so it's on a bazaar, something. Your products.
Yeah. So far, we have two products in the market. We have some other products on the way that will, like the mobile phones, like camera, like printers and other related products that we are still working on. And some have completed their testing phase. You just need fund sufficiently enough amount of fund for you to get to the market. And we also need we also have other projects that may require us hundreds, if not billions of dollars to be able to get, because to a particular level of the project, we may need some specific tools that for now we don't have that. So at that particular stage, we will need huge lump sum amount of money to be able to execute those phases. But as I said, we have everything in on our project plan, but we try as much as we can to execute the ones that are feasible to the closest, and keep working on that particular field while waiting for the right fund, while waiting for the right resources. Because if you're waiting for the fund, God knows it. Even now, like this, I'll tell you that we don't have sufficient amount of capital.
I see. So it's a call for investors. I believe so. To be able
Yeah.
to, yes, get those materialized. And yeah, just in your own opinion, like how is the competition of your products versus the existing brands?
Now, in Africa, physically speaking, we have very little competition, but we have the West who have embedded themselves in the market, and they may not be physically present, but their product is physically present in the market. So that becomes now also a challenge for us, because clients now, we have to be able to convince the clients based on the value of the products we offer, especially as there are unorthodox products from all around the world. Some of these products which may relatively look cheaper, but are not cheaper based on the technology, are not cost effective based on the things that are required. So these are some of the aspects, some of the challenges we tend to face in the field. And we also one of the catch goal of the project is not just to sell our products. It's not just to get our products to the market, to get billions of people making use of our product. One of the catch objective is to be able to employ as many people as we can in the nearest possible time. Now, in our short-term goal, we plan to employ, latest by 2025, we plan to employ at least 5,000 Africans. Now, based on our budget or the capital we have, we may not be able to achieve that, but we believe so. These are some of the things that keeps us or makes us unique, because we are not just here to exploit the continent, but we are here to employ the users of the continent.
Wow, that's actually like a great initiative. So you're providing like employment for your countrymen. So that's the value that you are looking after founding that business is to provide employment aside from the competition, because the competition, it's really a big wall that you will be
Yeah.
facing, right? So it's a tough one. But as you mentioned in your bio, like you chose to stay strong and facing these adversities definitely as an entrepreneur. So, do you have any advice to young entrepreneurs right now who's aiming to be in the place that you are currently? Like, yes, you may have a long way to go with the help of capitalists, but definitely for those who have experienced like the same um, history that you have had.
Okay, for young entrepreneurs, for young employees, for young individuals who are willing to venture into the entrepreneurial journey, I would just say they should live their life like goldfish. They should be willing to make the mistakes. But when they make the mistake, they should not live in the mistakes. They should be able to move on when the mistakes has been made and correct themselves to become better. Because there is no way throughout the course of their journey that they won't make mistakes. They will make lots of mistakes. some of the mistakes may be getting the wrong people involved. That's one aspect of entrepreneurship also that we have to take. There are some people who have come with lump sum of money to invest, but I have rejected their offer because I really think their vision is so shallow. Permit me to say, not everyone who gives you money will expect what you're doing to grow. Now, someone can also be there to buy you off and prevent you from realizing the dream. However, he buys you off and kills the dream, kills the vision that many out there who were supposed to depend on that vision or that dream that you're working on tend not to be realized. So see yourself as when you want to venture into entrepreneurship as someone whose failure will lead to the failure of thousands, if not millions.
Wow, wonderful. It really hit that part because yes, it's not really that they will give you like they invest for you for yourself, like they are investing for their self gain. Some does that, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's really understandable. Well, thank you for bringing that one up. So yeah, for the last part, like if in any case anyone would like to collaborate or will get in touch with you offline to talk about matters like this, how can they get in touch with you? What are the platforms they'd use to get in touch with your team?
Well, generally speaking, you can use my email address, both official and personal email address, which is based on my introductory.
Okay, we might have some network connectivity discrepancy. Yeah, let's just wait a little. Thank you so much for being patient. And for those who are watching on YouTube Live, you can put comments there on chat if you wish to ask question or just share your insights with regards to the topic. And thank you for watching live, by the way. And yeah, we check with our speaker as so yeah. While we're waiting for our speaker who might lose connectivity for a little, you can type in your questions. Okay. And yes, for those who are watching live or will be watching this one later on, if you're a business owner or a startup uh, or like a young entrepreneur and you need technology needs, like for example, professional ITs who will handle your website, your social medias, uh, anything related to information technology and dissemination, you can check with the services that Cogent Integrated Business Solutions has. And aside from that, they do staff augmentation as well for IT professionals. So you can visit the website www.cogentibs.com. And yes, there are platforms that is very helpful. The company itself is collaborated with other big businesses in the United States as well. So feel free to check the services. And yeah, let me check on our speaker if he will be able to join back in. Okay, so try checking on our guest speaker. So there might really be some power or network connectivity issues, and might be having trouble going back to the live session. Well, anyhow, we really appreciate your time tuning in into our live session. We regret to inform you that we will not be able to cover the other topic that should be included on today's session for some personal reasons of the guest speaker that we have invited. Well, anyhow, um, on the next Wednesday, because this actual event happens every Wednesday, uh, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will bring you two new topics with two new speakers that we will be inviting. So I hope you will join us for that event, and it will the same as be as interesting as we had today, like story of journey and success and failures, which is very important. All right, so check it out, and he really has some network connectivity issues. So, and yeah, we will have to end the actual webinar session for today early, as we have some few mishaps that we have experienced. Well, anyway, still for our speaker, he is Alain Tunenwi. You can search him on LinkedIn if you wish to collaborate and check with his business journey, or you can contact the Let Us Talk It team to get in touch with him if you wish to have offline conversations. And for now, we bid you goodbye. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in the live session, and also for watching the live stream on YouTube as well, and on Twitch and on Facebook as well. So, for any other inquiries or questions you may have with regards to the topic, don't hesitate to visit www.letustalkit.com and put in your chat there, or you can find me on LinkedIn as well. It's Phil John, Filjohn, and Gonzalez, G for golf, Onzales. And just send me a message if you wish to participate to our webinars, be a guest speaker, or just watch our live sessions. So thank you so much, everyone, and take care as always.